Supreme Court has just delivered a crushing verdict that threatens to bring Keir Starmer's entire foreign policy crashing down. In a dramatic and unprecedented ruling, Britain's highest court has struck down Starmer's covert attempts to realign the UK with European Union regulations, plans that were never put to the British people, never debated in the open, and never given the green light by Parliament. This is more than a legal defeat. This is a full-scale political humiliation. The man who promised integrity, transparency, and respect for Brexit has now been exposed. His quiet dealings with EU officials have come back to haunt him. The ruling has sent shockwaves through Westminster, igniting a firestorm in Labour's ranks and plunging Starmer's leadership into chaos. The question now is no longer whether Keir Starmer will face consequences. It's how bad they'll be, and how long he can survive. The Supreme Court's decision didn't just strike down a policy, it blew a hole straight through Keir Starmer's political credibility. For months, Starmer's government had been quietly laying the groundwork for what he called pragmatic European cooperation. But behind that diplomatic language was something far more explosive, an attempt to align Britain with a swath of EU regulations, including trade standards and environmental laws, without triggering a public debate. Starmer claimed this was about economic stability, but critics were saying it all along. This wasn't cooperation. This was betrayal, a betrayal of the Brexit vote, a betrayal of national sovereignty, and now, as confirmed by the court, a betrayal of legal procedure. At the centre of the Supreme Court's ruling was one devastating conclusion. Starmer's government acted unlawfully by trying to bypass parliamentary scrutiny. Legal experts argued that any substantial changes to Britain's post-Brexit legal framework required full legislative approval. But Starmer's team pushed forward anyway, hoping to slip the changes through under the radar. That gamble has now backfired in the most spectacular way possible. The court found that Starmer's actions violated constitutional norms, attempting to use executive powers to reshape Britain's international posture without democratic oversight. It's the kind of behaviour you'd expect from an authoritarian regime, not a British Prime Minister. The justices didn't mince words. Their ruling described the government's legal arguments as fundamentally flawed, incompatible with democratic accountability, and an overreach of executive authority. This wasn't a narrow technical loss. This was a complete legal takedown. Sources close to the case say the court was particularly alarmed by the speed and secrecy with which Starmer's government tried to push these changes through. Some measures had already been signed into provisional agreements with EU partners, while others were quietly embedded in trade discussions with European officials. None of this was presented transparently to Parliament. None of it was part of any public consultation. And crucially, none of it reflected the Brexit mandate that millions of voters supported in 2016 and reaffirmed in 2019.